Well, hello, everyone. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to our Center Court one-on-one alumni interview. We're going to talk about transformational leadership with an alum of the Gies College of Business at the University of Illinois, Heidi Moore. There she is with that beautiful orange screen in the background. She is in Japan, and she graduated with her MBA degree in 2019. And obviously, IMBA is an online MBA program, and we're going to hear all about it. Heidi, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and sort of your professional background and your current role first.
Okay, my background is I got my undergrad at Purdue University in professional flight, and I graduated and went straight to Lockheed Martin designing F-16 cockpit displays on a team called Pilot Vehicle Interface. And I spent my first 7 years or so doing that, and eventually got into a leadership program at Lockheed. Had some experience with program management and marketing, and then switched over to another fighter platform and eventually made it into leadership just a couple months after I actually started the IMBA program. So it really walked me through the early stages of becoming a leader in a formal sense. I believe anyone can be a leader from any position, but it really helped me during my step-by-step progression over the next few years.
How did it change you? And did it help by taking a program part-time so you could apply what you learned immediately at work?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I had started out full time, and I kind of had a feeling. I was like, you know what, I need to leave a little bit of space and room for the unexpected, And the unexpected was stepping into leadership formally earlier than I expected, and the part time was a lifesaver and the flexibility of the program.
And your current role is?
My current role is F-35 site lead for the Japan Air Self-Defense Forces over here in Asia. And
Wow, that's a wild job, right?
it is. It's perfect for my strengths, and I think what I bring to the table is what the customer and the program needs at this time.
Now, did the IMBA help you make that transition?
Absolutely. So not only did I have the years of experience in a variety of areas and leadership of different teams, but my specializations at the IMBA at University of Illinois program were global business and entrepreneurship. And I'm global, customer facing, and Japan happens to be ranked #1 in the world in 2021 for entrepreneurship, according to US World News.
Wow, I hadn't realized that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how did you change as a leader as a result of the IMBA program?
I became more confident slowly by slowly. And I remember we had done a video early on introducing ourselves and posting it on our internal forums. And in those videos, I talked about living near the mountains, which I did in 2020. I talked about things that weren't a reality at the time, but I really had a vision for the future. And everything that I envisioned and more is coming to pass. And IMBA was a big part of that.
That's great. Do you have a favorite leader?
I have lots of favorite leaders. This is a tough one. So, all right, I'm going to name off 3 for starters. Recently, more people have been recommending, like, hey, have you read this Navy SEAL book? Have you read that Navy SEAL book? And I brought a couple demos. So this one I've finished, called Never Enough, Mike Hayes. He's a Navy SEAL who is also a White House fellow. And this one I'm in the process of reading, called Extreme Ownership. And they're both outstanding and give a great insight. And so Mike Hayes, I think right now, because I'm still working on the other one, is one of my favorites right now. And I also have a couple others, Brene Brown and Jesus. Those are my top 3 today.
That's quite a group. Now what are the values that resonate with you in terms of these leaders?
What I appreciate more than anything is the strength it takes to be vulnerable and to really connect with your people and to meet them where they are. And all 3 do that in their own way, regardless of what you think about each one. They each have a story that resonates with the basic remembering how to be human.
Yeah, that's so true, and it's so important. And yet part of that is making yourself vulnerable, which makes it so much more difficult.
hmm hmm Yeah, it's interesting because our culture and a lot of societies see vulnerability and caring for others as weakness, but it actually takes a lot more strength to do it in a way. As a leader, obviously we're to hold others accountable, but we all have someone that we're accountable to as well. And how you go about doing that can make or break a team. Can keep a team together and make them stronger, or make them want to leave or have the team fall apart. So how we go about accomplishing those objectives is just as much, if not more important than meeting the objective itself.
I mean, other than what you just said, do you find that there are qualities or behaviors that are common to successful leaders?
Yes, I think openness and transparency as much as possible is critical. We care about people and trying to understand them and kind of the drivers perhaps behind behavior that may need to change, right? But taking into account who they are, where they're coming from, and what their needs are. I don't think we talk about needs as much. I had done some corporate coaching a few years ago
Mhm.
that really opened my eyes to a way to recognize the needs in yourself and others. Because if you ignore that, then behaviors are going to happen, whether they are conscious or unconscious or not. So,
Yeah, behaviors that will hold you back, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we aren't recognizing those things, yes.
So, in
Mhm.
regards to your own leadership style and your abilities, do you find certain aspects of leadership most challenging?
Um, yes, I was thinking about this one. I have a couple things that came to mind this week. I actually asked yesterday. I was talking to one of my team members. I was like, "What can I do better? What are
Mhm.
some things?" And they said a lot of. And obviously, as I think as leaders tend to go up in organizations, sometimes it's hard to find those people that are sharp in you and trying to tell you the hard stuff, to grow in. And I value that honesty. And they mentioned maybe I could be over empathetic at times. That could, if you don't keep that in balance, that could be a disadvantage. I think in the end, we all have to strike that balance in our own ways. The other weakness that I noticed this week, I have like a pull up and push up contest going on, and my pull up game is strong and my push up game is weak, so I've got to work on that.
You mean the physical pull up and push up?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, that was highlighted as a big weakness this week in comparison with my team. So I've got to work on that.
So,
So
can you share a professional experience where you learned a valuable leadership lesson?
I sure can. I sure can. This one has stood out pretty distinctly as over the last week or so as I've thought about this. This one comes up the most. And I just want to share this because obviously COVID has been a hot topic for the world, and leading in the middle of COVID, an environment where that's mostly remote, at least for a period of time. You really watch different people and different dynamics. And some of my observations are not a blanket statement. Everyone is different, right? But different generations tended to adapt easier and better to a remote workplace. And so I had brought in somebody onto my team new who had never worked remote and who had always done everything face to face. And I saw them when I onboarded them. They went home and they were expected to give it all they could in a remote environment, and they were really struggling, right? And then they were like, I need to find something that's a better fit. But I was frustrated as a leader, and this gets into remembering the human side and not forgetting about it. And I was really irritated. Like, we just hired you. Why are you finding another job? But I need to recognize the needs of this person, the needs of my team. If they weren't able to perform, it would hurt my team. And the gracious thing to do, in spite of all the circumstances, was to let them go to a job earlier than I would have liked. That was a better fit for everyone. But what
Mhm.
really hit me, what really was the wake up call that really had me, was sobering for me. And like, hey, you need to take a step back, relax, and you need to remember there's always something else going on. If it doesn't make sense, there's some other part of the story. And they shared with me a personal reflection about how I reminded them of somebody that they had lost a few years prior. And that created an emotional connection I wasn't expecting, even over the phone. Here I am, like, irritated, leader this, leader that, we have objectives to accomplish, and it totally was a reminder that these are people and there's more going on, and that I need to make sure I take that into account and respond in a way that will allow people to share those kinds of stories if needed. I'm not a counselor, I'm not, but you're here to listen to your people and take care of them. And that was a big eye opener. That was a big eye opener in the middle of all of that. It was really an important moment for me.
And I think that's so true. When you're leading people, you're so focused on the task and getting results and making sure things are going well that you forget, there are other aspects of a person's life that are extremely important to them that affect their performance. And your window onto that world and those issues probably helped you a great deal in understanding what was going on and how you could correct for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, so going back to your MBA, if you had to identify 3 highlights of the program in terms of leadership development, what would they be?
So first of all, the high caliber of people, not only the professors, but my peers, they're outstanding. As some of them pressed through, stayed full time, did the whole graduate in 2 years with their 72 credit hours, and are just, they're going gangbusters, but I got to meet, because I went part-time, I got to meet even more folks along the way, and other who started at different times. And it's astounding. So I was inspired by their success during the program, after the program, and that raises your bar even higher. Like, oh my gosh, look what they're accomplishing, right? I've heard that you're kind of the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and it's like, okay, how does that look? Hopefully I'm bringing the percentage up. And so when you surround yourself with high caliber people for hours of classes and work sessions and projects, it lifts you up. So that's one of them. Another item I mentioned earlier was the flexibility is astounding. And I watch people balancing their personal lives and their work lives, plus the school endeavors. And the flexibility was really key for a lot of amazing people that otherwise you wouldn't have met, right, all around the world. Yep. And so that was pretty phenomenal. And the other element was the way it builds your confidence, because you study things that maybe, at least for me, whether you're a poet or a quant or a mix of both, we're all kind of a mix, I think. It really challenges you in those areas you're not as familiar with, and you don't have to be afraid of balance sheets if you've never done accounting. You don't have to be afraid of. One of the biggest things was not being afraid of conflict, because it really can make your team stronger, done in a good way, and sharpen what your team is bringing to the table. And so I think those were pretty important key elements for me.
Yeah, those are great takeaways for anybody. So if you had to advise someone who's thinking about, should I do it or shouldn't I do it? And should I do it remotely and gain the flexibility of maintaining my job while I go through and the chance to apply what I learn in my class and through my classmates, what would you say to them?
I would say absolutely. I mean, you don't really have much to lose, if anything, right? It makes sense on the financial statement. One of the things I've mentioned in the past is I know there's different concepts about debt. In fact, that was some of my ideas about debt were challenged through some of the classes, and how it can be a sign of health in some organizations, depending on how you look at it. But for me personally, I was like, okay, I don't want to be in debt if I don't have to. And so for me, with that kind of mindset, there wasn't a program that came close to the level of excellence of University of Illinois, what they offer, and how cutting edge they've been in the highest quality I found. With the price, it's unbeatable, I don't think.
No, absolutely. And I have to mention the price to everyone because we haven't done that yet. It's only $22,000. That's remarkable for an
It's
MBA
phenomenal.
Of great quality from a school like the University of Illinois. In fact,
Absolutely.
other people I've met over the years who've been in the IMBA program say universally that they've gotten tremendous value from every dollar that they
Mhm.
spent. And if
Oh,
anything,
yeah.
they would actually pay more so that people who couldn't even pay 22 would be able to get some scholarship aid to help them.
Mhm.
You feel the same way?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I like that people are interested in, people want to help others a lot of times in the program, through the program. And if we are able to empower people from other socioeconomic backgrounds, then that's going to add even more diversity to our school, to the classes. You find opportunities for innovation and entrepreneurship that otherwise you may not be familiar with. And that it gets back to even some of the classes we took where we were looking at opportunities on the international scale to make a difference. And what would that look like? And I could see the program becoming even richer as a result.
Now, Heidi, did you go to Japan after the program, or were you in Japan working while you were doing the program?
I was actually in Texas while I was in the program. And it was a few months later, I went to Colorado. And then it was, I guess, maybe like a year and a half after graduation, I came to Japan. So the fact that my studies matched so closely with this opportunity, plus my work and leadership backgrounds, it was kind of a home run, honestly.
Love it. Heidi,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
You
All
too,
right, that
John.
was Heidi Moore, who graduated with her IMBA from the Gies College of Business at the University of Illinois back in, well, not that far back, really, in
Hmm.
2019, just a couple of years ago. And there she is, brand new job in an exciting field for sure, in Japan, no less, after having done the program in Texas and Colorado. Well, I think that's a really cool story. So Heidi, good luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. And for all of you out there, thanks for watching. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants.